All right, guys, I've got one of the coolest cars that I think I've ever had in the shop in there today. I'm kind of excited to get to work on this thing, and I don't. I'm pretty excited about this one. It's not every day you get to work on something this cool, uh, and whew, y'all hang in there. You ain't gonna believe it.
I'd say it's a nut job.
Y'all ready for this? I'm gonna tilt the camera a little bit so you can't see it. I don't know if you're ready for this because, man, first off, you're going to think it's one thing, but you need to overlook what you think it is and look at what the bones of this is. And it is hands down one of the coolest cars. Something I never thought I would actually get to play with. But here it is. Yeah. Is that not absolutely a stunning car? Wow. Never thought that I would get to put my hands on a car like this. So first, let me tell you about the car, and then we'll get into what it is, or what we're doing to it, rather. This is a 1967. It's a real 1967. It's the car. Now, uh, this car here is powered by a, depending on what world you come from, a Windsor Ford, a small block Ford, whatever you want to refer to it as. There's different terminologies. People will argue over it. I won't. But this is a Windsor-based engine, and it is, man, this is a hot, hot car. This car has been dynoed, makes real power, and it's got some kind of little funny red button inside. I don't know what that does. We'll have to figure out what that little red button's for. Okay, so why is this beautiful machine in my shop? Well, first off, let me start by saying this. If you've watched this channel anytime, for any length of time, on any videos, you know we don't badmouth people here. I don't care what the situation is. I will tell you what I know, and then I'll tell you my approach to it. This car had an oil leak, and there was a little something else, nothing major. And it was sent to a local shop. I will not comment the name of the shop because there's always more than one side of the story, but I won't comment on who it was. But it was sent to a local shop. As I said before, this car makes real power. It came back from that shop. It no longer runs well. And when I say no longer runs well, I'm talking you can mat it to the floor and get 40 miles an hour out of it. And it still has the oil leak. So, big picture, it came back worse than it left. So, I was tasked with the job of figuring out what happened and what we got to do to make this thing perform like it's supposed to again. So, here is the information I was given. It was carried to have an oil leak fix, which it still has. And while there, or somehow throughout the conversation, it came up that there was something wrong with a rocker arm. Don't know the details because it doesn't matter to me. So they put new rockers on them. That was supposedly what was done, but the car doesn't run. Now, it would be easy to say, well, the rockers are a problem. But I don't want to go into any job with a predetermined conclusion in my head. I like to go through and diagnose and look at everything because maybe it's not. Maybe it's a coincidence and something else went wrong. Maybe the shop didn't do anything wrong. Maybe there's something else going on here. Maybe they did. But I'm going to go through and do full, just dig in, diagnostic, like I don't know anything about this car, and then we're going to figure out what went wrong from there. How beautiful is that engine bay? AC, power steering, the whole 9 yards. Now, it looks like a point style distributor, but this is actually aftermarket electronic ignition, but great lengths was went to get the correct distributor cap, the correct wires to make this thing look real. Now we just got to dial it in and see if we can figure out what's going wrong with it. I'm going to see if it'll start today and fire up and run. If it does, you'll be able to see how badly it runs. And I'm just going to listen around for any noises, ticks, anything along those lines, and start this diagnostic process. Okay, I did not expect that. This thing is literally just pouring out the exhaust pipe. I don't know if it's on both sides or not, but I know it's doing it on this side. Keep in mind before you come to any conclusions that this was not doing that a few days ago. It went to another shop and came back with these problems. Yes, it is the same on both sides. Huh. Okay. We've got something to go on. We've got a little something to go on. So I'm going to get dressed to get to work. Just came home from my daughter's college graduation, and we're going to dive into this thing and see if we can diagnose an issue. I can tell you one thing right now, without a doubt, it is absolutely raw fuel coming out the exhaust as well, like it's just pig fat for some reason. And again, it was not like this just a few days ago. So it makes you wonder what exactly was done to it in this other shop. Whatever it was, we're going to figure it out, and we're going to make this thing great again. Okay, I've took a quick look. I got one valve cover off. I just wanted to take a quick peek inside. Tomorrow's going to be the day I actually work on it, but I wanted to take a quick peek just to see. What I have found is that the lash on these valves, they're not consistent. Now again, this is just one side that I've took a peek at, but the valves are not, I'd say, consistent. It seems to be just a little bit different lash on several of them. Some of them are tight, some of them are a little loose. They're just inconsistent. Now here's a tip for you that most of you probably already know, but for those that don't, your cam card will tell you what your valves need to be, your valve lash needs to be set on. Now they will say something along the lines of this, not exactly this, but of this. If you've got a solid roller cam, it'll tell you a number that it's supposed to be, say 21 thousandths or 20,000 or whatever. It'll have a number. And you use your filler gauge and you set them that number. A hydraulic roller cam, most cards will tell you something along the lines of, how's the easiest way to explain this? they will instruct you to something along the lines of getting a 0 lash and then 3/4 turn or something along those lines to tell you what the preload on those lifters should be. Pretty sure it doesn't say set 1 at this, set 4 at this, set 6 at this. You know what I'm saying? So before I go any further, I'm going to reach out to the owner of the car, get him to send me a photo of the cam card so I know exactly what these valves should be set on. I have a pretty good idea of what they should be set on, but you never know. So don't get so complacent in you've just done this enough and you know where they're supposed to be to not take a minute to look, especially when you're talking about something as expensive as what this build here was. So we're going to reach out to the owner and get a photo of his cam card. So here's what I'm finding here today. I got both valve covers off, looking at the valves. The valves on the driver's side seem to have various valve adjustments. Like they're not all the same, which while an engine's turning over, if you understand how an engine works, some have pressure on them, some don't. So they should be a little variable to the touch is what I'm saying. I have not actually checking them, but by reaching across and feeling of each one, there should be some difference. Some should have pressure, some shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. The passenger side, every one of them is at 0 lash right now. I can move each rocker a little bit. It's at 0 lash, which means that none of the valves are open right now. There should never be a time in an engine ever when none of the valves are open on an entire side of an engine. An engine fires in a certain order. Say an FE 1542638, for instance. That means at certain points, this valve on this side is open, this valve on this side is open, a valve back here is open, a valve over here is open. Same, closed over here, closed over here. So they're working in unison. If you don't understand how an engine works, that means that this side over here, the valves are opening and closing like they're supposed to. This side over here, they may crack a valve, but they're not actually opening. So definitely way out of adjustment on the valve. So we're going to have to go through and adjust the valves. And then, you know, for due diligence, we need to take this thing for a test drive. Right, I made a preliminary adjustment on the valves. Now I'm going to fire it up and see how it sounds. Now keep in mind, it's not going to sound quite right because guarantee you every one of the plugs is just covered in soot from the way it was adjusted. This is more about listening for any rattles or anything like that. It's a process that I use. It's not bad. There's still some work to do. It's not quite there yet. But if you'd seen this thing when I brought it in the shop, that's like I put a different engine in it already. It's a major difference. All right, so it sounds better than it did, but it's still not right. I have a sneaky suspicion that the plugs are probably all sooted up from the valve adjustment. So we're going to pull one out, look at it, and use it to identify the correct plug for what we need. Very tight loom on it. A little difficult to get in here. You run into that with custom builds at one of these plugs. Now, I expect to see this plug pretty heavily sooted up, is what I expect to see. Let's see if that's what we get. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's exactly what I expected to see. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Maybe if I get the light away from it. I thought you might need the light, but you don't. Look right here. Let me turn this light off. If you look right here, that right there, if the camera will catch it, is just wet gas. Literally dripping gas from it. Wow. Yep. That is from the valves being completely out of whack, and it has absolutely roasted these plugs. So that's going to be the next step. So I'm going to, let's see what plug is in this thing. I don't even know. This is a set of, I can't quite make out the writing on these plugs, but they look like some auto lights is what they look like. We're going to get some good plugs and put back in it. We've run the valves and kind of put a tentative adjustment on them. I say that because I never just guarantee it's going to be dead nuts the first time. I always like to go back and check them after I run a heat cycle on them. So the valves have had some adjustment done to them, and now we're going to replace these things that used to be spark plugs. Now they're just hole plugs because there's probably much sparky left in that. Yeah. Be right back with some new plugs. All right. New plugs are in, and we're ready for a test drive. But you should check out these plugs that came out of this thing. They are. Yeah, they're all pretty much the same. Gas soaked. What else would you expect, right? Since when I first popped the valve covers off, I don't know what they were set at, but the ones on the driver's side had lash, and all the ones on the passenger side was zero lash. I really don't know, but I know she sounds healthy now, and it needs to be test drove to see if it runs as healthy as it sounds. Get up back to her. It runs real good, don't it?
Yeah.
Go button?
Can we?
No. Not that kind of test drive. The pony is back in the stable. Now, there's a couple of little things I'm going to do. Like, I already went this far. I'm going to go ahead and put wires and a cap and rotor button and all those things on it. But no need for you to see that stuff. I mean, it's just common stuff. I am going to pull a plug, kind of take a look at it, see what its vitals tell me. I've got a great video a while back on reading plugs if you're going to check it out. But this old girl's definitely got her gallop back, if you know what I mean. It's running. It's strong. I'm not going to badmouth anybody else's shop. I mean, mistakes happen. But this is one of those cases where the valves were completely just out of whack. Earlier I used the term lash. What I meant to say was preload. All these valves over here had various amounts of preload. The valves on the other side were just sitting at zero lash. So they were all out of whack. I don't know what happened. I don't know the scenario which caused that. It's none of my business. I'm just here to work on it the way it sits now. And this bitch runs now. It's strong. It pulls hard. It's got great throttle response. I mean, it's a great vehicle. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you for all the folks that subscribed and watch. Please don't forget to that thumbs up. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of the car. Share the videos, subscribe, all those great things. And I think the very next video that comes out is going to be on the Galaxy, because honestly, I only booked a lot of stuff to do 1 month of the entire year because I wanted time to work on all these other things around here. And that month is in June, and there's a lot going on in June, and I ain't touched none of the vehicles that are supposed to participate in those events. So I got to get the Galaxy in here and get it ready, because in 2 weeks I'm supposed to race it. And then I got a few weeks, and then we leave on power tour with the wagon, and I ain't touched the wagon. So I've got to get those two things buttoned up. But again, God bless you. I hope the Lord blesses you more today than he did yesterday. To him be all the glory. And thank each and every one of you that have watched these videos. You don't know how much that means to me that you watch them. So I'm out, but I'll give you a walk around the vehicle before I take off. And man, we'll see y'all on the next one.
I'd say it's a nut job.